Elizabeth Wolfson now, but I was Levin. I grew up in Grand Rapids. My mother and father belonged to the Arbeiter Ring. And I just remember going to parties. I don't remember much significant. And I'm related to our host, Sal. He's my first cousin. His father and my mother were brother and sister.
I'm Gloria Levin, formerly Gloria Romer, and I am married to Seymour Levin, who is a nephew of Saul Bach.
Cousin.
First cousin, yeah.
Excuse me.
Who's that?
And I don't know a thing about the Arbeiter Ring except what I have heard
So
from
you're-
all these people.
Yep.
I'm Irene Bach. I'm married to Saul. Bird is our son. And I've learned about the Arbeiter Ring from both of them. They're very interested, and I like it.
I'm Norm,
I love it.
80-year-old youngest first cousin of Salke, and we all grew up together. And the common bond in our early life was the Arbeiter Ring, our workman circle, and it consumed a lot of our social activities. A great experience in our life. It's yours. It's okay.
I wondered what the hell that thing is doing.
Is that darling?
Yeah, national television.
I'm Seymour Levin. I never had a middle name. That always bothered me. Anyway, Arbeiter Ring. Yeah, I was in plays. I still remember. To this day, I remember a line from it. My part was something as follows. Was ist dir gewollt? Ich soll sich mit dir rumnehmen und zu kuschen?
Which means what?
Well, what do you want from me? I'm supposed to take you around and hug you and kiss you? I don't remember the context, but that was the line. And this was a socialist organization, a workman, socialist, and strongly anti-communist. I remember two things. There was always a bust of Eugene V. Debs in the hall on Mount Vernon. And also they were strong supporters of Norman Thomas, who was a candidate for president in 28?
32.
32, but also 28.
It might have been, because he was named.
Yeah, and he was...
Really?
Yeah, Norm was named after.
Norman, and Norm was named after Norman Thomas, the
Right.
socialist.
Wow.
And Norman Thomas was largely responsible for influencing Roosevelt with regard to the establishment of, I think, Social Security.
Social Security,
Wow.
sure.
Yeah.
My mother was extremely active.
Yeah.
They came over for dinner every Sunday night, their supper,
Who?
a whole group.
Wow.
Really? Not all of them.
Well, it was a
Oh.
whole table full of people.
Schechter.
Everybody was there, and everybody talked all at once.
Schechter, that's right.
And I was just a little kid, but I remember, they had the classic Yiddish supper.
Which
Which was
gefilte fish?
the herring. I remember the herring more than I do anything else.
The herring,
But
yeah.
probably eggs
Surf and
and
turf.
whatever. They weren't kosher, but they did.
They were kosher?
No.
Oh,
No.
they weren't kosher.
No, secular.
Oh, you
Secular.
said they weren't religious.
No, strongly secular.
But they were very active politically. My mother was the secretary of the Socialist Party in Grand Rapids
Wow.
when she was young. I wasn't that conscious of everything. I mean, the people we knew were neighbors, and nobody disliked us, because we were all friends.
Yeah, good
And
point.
we never really came into that. I don't think I ever came into it till World War II, anti-Semitism,
Okay.
till World War II, because we were neighborhoods. And everybody knew everybody, and it was during the Depression. People helped everybody. Somebody knocked on your door, you invited them for
I'll
dinner.
tell you about, this is before, but I will tell you one event as a child. I was born and raised in Huntington, West Virginia. And at about the age of 13, my parents moved from a house that we had lived in from the time I was born to another house. And we were next door to I think they may have been a Syrian family. And I can remember being on the back porch of our house And next door was this elderly lady who was obviously mentally ill, and she used to take her broom and point it at me, and she'd say, "Judgy people, judgy people." That's the only time in my whole life that I ever remember anti-Semitism. And I said, I've been living a long time.
Well, a lot of that cleared up, in the war because of the Nazis' invasion. So people were a little bit more sympathetic. The term Landsman, where somebody
Yeah.
came from,
Oh,
where
okay.
somebody came from was very important. I mean, your grandfather would go all over the country trying to find someone who came from Lithuania.
Yeah.
Even as far as California.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
We
he came.
stopped and stayed overnight, and it was either Ames, Iowa, or someplace in the Midwest, might have been Nebraska, looking for what he called landsman, and he
Yeah.
found one, and we stayed overnight at the home of a local Jewish family
Yeah.
in that particular part of the
That was
Midwest.
very important.
You got one member yet. Maybe, where is he?
Seymour?
Where's
No,
Yeah, you.
Yeah.
Well, we went to the Workman Circle camp.
Arbeiter Ring.
Oh,
camp,
sure,
right?
yeah.
We went, and I hated it. I was 7 years old. They threw me in camp. I met with him, and I didn't see him, and I don't know. And when my parents came to visit, he said, "Take her home."
The Nazi siege of Stalingrad.
Oh,
Right.
World
okay.
War
Oh.
II.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, that was quite well. Jake was in Russia was an active revolution. They hid rifles in the basement of their home. I don't have a story that has any sequence in it. Just a few little incidents like that, and they were virtually exiled. Well, they had to run away. That's why they came to the United States, because of their escape from the czars. But he was always politically hip and followed the war very, very zealously. And at that juncture where the Nazis began the siege on the Western Front against Stalingrad, Jake was very serious and had a very profound, interest in politics and in what was going on during the war. And he said as follows: "If Russia should lose," and by the way, he never lost his accent. "If Russia should lose, 'tis the worst thing it could be."
It's what?
That was the statement.
Would be the worst
Lost
thing.
thing, what could be.
I mean,
And he
you
was
figure
right.
that the Nazis, took Stalingrad,
We're
we were in
finished.
big trouble.
Yeah,
He was right.
yeah. No, they
When
needed
they
that
took-
front.